Hello and welcome to your practice. Today we are going to do a seated spine twist, and to really prepare the body for that, we're going to be warming up the hip flexors and also the spine. So we're actually going to begin on our backs and then make our way to seated. So to lower down onto your back, you can grab right behind one knee and then start to just roll down as you move your leg back. That acts as a little lever of support. And then when you get down to your back, just bring both knees into your chest, and you can take a little rock from side to side here. This will give you a nice little warming back massage, which will start to prepare you for your practice right off the bat. Then pick one leg and keep it in as you stretch the other leg out. To start, you can hold right on behind the kneecap, right around the back of your thigh. And take a breath, and then switch. And then just start to move from leg to leg, moving with your own unique breath rhythm. Inhaling and exhaling. You might pause along the way and reset your shoulders back and down. And you might decide that you're ready for a slightly deeper sensation, at which point you can hold right around the top of your shin. This is going to help us to feel more prepared to pull one leg in close to the body when we're seated. So we're really warming up the hip flexors here. We'll just do one more round. And then when you're feeling even and balanced, bring both knees back into the chest. Just trying to keep your shoulders back and your tailbone down. Then bring your legs into a tabletop position in the air. And bring your hands right down by your sides. We're going to bring our hands out pretty wide here so that you can use them for support. And just feel how even holding in this tabletop position kind of fires up and turns on your abdominal muscles and your hip flexors. Those are important areas of the body to support our upright seated spinal twist. So we're waking up the core right now. Then we're going to add a little bit of extra core strengthening and also warm up the spine in a twisting manner by tipping the knees off to one side. Just take them about halfway to the ground. Your other butt cheek will lift up off your mat, but see if you can keep your shoulders fairly anchored down. Then come back to the center and switch sides. Come back to the center and switch. And keep going. We'll do a few more. And when you're feeling even and balanced, come back to the center and take knees to chest. Take a breath. And then you can either roll to your side and press up, or you can try stretching one leg out and using the other leg as a lever again. So if that feels good, you can sit up that way as well. All right, now we've made our way back to a seated position, and we're just going to take a few breaths in seated staff posture. At this point, you may wish to grab your blanket and elevate your hips. Anytime we're doing a seated posture that feels challenging, this is a great technique to use in order to keep your pelvis neutral, which is key. We do not want to initiate a twist from a pelvis that's spilled backwards. So elevate up on your blanket if you feel like that's helpful. If you feel like it's not helpful, then of course you don't need to use the blanket for this. But just see what you need for support. It might even just be a roll or two in your mat, and just get the support that you need for your seated staff posture. Press into your hands, sit up tall, make sure your pelvic bowl is upright, not tilted back. And then we're going to purposefully tilt forward. So begin to just spill that pelvic bowl forward. It might just be a centimeter or two. And bring your hands to the earth or to some blocks for support. We'll stay here for about 3 rounds of breath, just to give some extra stretch to that lower back and to the backs of the legs, so that this seated spine twist will be possible. When you're feeling ready, come back up and sit with that neutral pelvis. And then we're going to get ready for our twist. So to begin, we're going to bend the right knee and bring it in. So the left leg is straight, the right knee is bent. Now right away, when you bring that foot in and onto the floor, you're probably going to feel the tendency of your pelvis to tilt back. So maybe you weren't using a blanket or rolling your mat yet, but you decide you want to pause and add one now. That is great listening to your body. And I'm going to show you several different variations of this posture, but the first one is the most simple to understand, and that's just to simply bend that right knee, sit up tall, hold on to your leg with your left arm, and twist. You can use your backhand on the floor for support, and just take 3 or 4 breaths right there. And then let's come back to center. We'll stretch that right leg all the way back out, and then bring the left leg in. Sit up tall to prepare. Start to twist. Hold on to your left leg with your right arm. And remember that even your neck is included in the twist. So take a little look back over your back shoulder if you can. And then we'll come back to center. And we're going to go back to side number 1. So bring your right knee into the chest again. And you can stay with that first option, revolving and holding. That's one of my favorite variations of this because it requires lots of core strength, internal support, and there's no temptation to leverage by pressing into your arm. So stick with that if it feels like the right choice for you. If you feel like you want to try stepping over your outstretched leg, you can do that. Instead of bringing your right foot to the inner thigh, you step up and over. And then, again, you can hold and twist. Or maybe take your elbow up and over. And your fingers might point towards the ceiling, or some people like to keep their arm outstretched like this. This is all good. Just make sure you're not really pushing into your leg with your elbow and forcing your twist. We want our twist to be predominantly internally supported, which is why I really like the hold rather than overly using the elbow. But if it just crosses with ease, that's good. We'll take one more breath here. And then come back and keep your legs in that position, or take a little lean over to the left and take your outstretched leg and bend it. If this is feeling really tough, add some elevation. Put another fold in your blanket or add a second blanket. It's going to make your life a whole lot easier. If you're rolling up in the foot and you can't press your big toe side in, add some elevation under the hips. It's going to help everything. So here we are. I'll actually turn this way so that you can see. And this twist is called Half Lord of the Fishes posture. So we'll start with a breath in and then twist towards your right shoulder, holding around the leg, or like we did before, crossing with your elbow. We'll take one more breath. And then unravel and just stretch everything out back into your seated staff posture. And take a breath. And now we'll do those other options on the other side. So draw your left leg in. Remember, you can stick with the first option and just hold the leg with your right arm and twist. Or you can step your foot over your outstretched leg and twist from there. We'll hold there and take a few breaths. Remember, you might literally be holding your leg instead of crossing with your elbow, which is really nice to support that way. It helps to sort of hug in if your inner thigh is dropping open. And then if you're ready to bend this outstretched leg, lean over towards it so that you can wrap it around. And that just really changes the experience of the posture completely. In some ways, this outstretched version is a little more challenging because it requires a lot of hamstring flexibility. In other ways, this is more challenging because it really stretches the outer thigh and hip area. So it's really just a matter of personal preference and what you want to work on in this moment. Sit up tall to begin, and then rotate towards your left shoulder, holding or crossing leg. Like I said, your hand can be fingers pointing up or fingers pointing down. There is a bind that is possible here, although it works better for people that have longer arms and a lot of flexibility in the shoulders and in the spine. But I'll show it just so that you can see it, and you can maybe incorporate it if it works for you, or incorporate it using a strap. So if you're in this and it's feeling great and you got comfort in your back, you can internally rotate your right shoulder, which means to sort of round it in. Reach underneath your left leg, and then your other arm will come around to connect. So, looks like this. I'll turn this way. Right under the knee and connect. And that's a nice one to do if you've got a hand towel or a strap. And while that is not possible or practical for everybody, and that's okay, for those that do like it, it really does kind of like snug everything into place. And I feel a deepening of the stretch right here. So kind of one of those tangled up in knots positions. But really this is going to give you all of the same effects. And I've had you in it for quite a while. So not trying to overcook you. Go ahead and untangle. Woo! Come back to your seated staff and just notice how you feel. So hopefully your spine is feeling the love. That brings us to the end of our posture breakdown for today. And from here, you can feel free to continue your practice or thank your body for its cooperation. And thank you for practicing with me. I hope you have a wonderful day or a beautiful evening. Namaste.